After revising all these portions, let us revise a little bit more. As you all know that first two chapters are fully asked for the examination, so we must study all these things. First and foremost is the balancing of the chemical equation, which you already done. You know that right from lower classes you all have been doing this balancing of the equations. And how the formula of a compound is made, that also you know it. The formula of a compound is made by crisscrossing the valencies. So you should know the valencies of the elements. And first 20 elements, since you have studied that in 9th standard, you know the valencies, and other elements also, gradually you should know that. All right, like, and then the anions valencies like chloride, carbonate, sulfate, fluoride, phosphate, etc., etc. These common things you should know. And oxygen, sulfur, chlorine, these valencies. So when solid mercuric oxide is heated, mercury and oxygen are released. Now, mercury, you know that certain elements have got two valencies. First type of elements, normally we call it as transition elements. Periodic classification, we have studied elements are broadly classified into two, normal and transition. So some elements like mercury, iron, etc. shows the valency. So mercury has got two valencies, valencies 1 and 2. One is mercurous and one is mercury. So in case they ask you about mercury 2 oxide, that means it is clear that Sb2 oxide. Understood? And when mercury's valency is 1, Sb2, this is good. Understood? So one is when the valency is maximum, then it is IC, and when it is minimum, then it is mentioned as OUS. That is cuprous cupric, ferrous ferric, mercurous mercury. So the question is asked, mercury oxide is needed. They say that mercury oxide is needed to produce mercury and oxygen, represented in the form of the chemical equation. So what is mercury oxide? Is TO. In which the oxide balance is to mercury balance is to not get cancelled. So when it is heated, you will get 2 mercury plus oxygen. Remember, oxygen is a biatomic molecule. Atomicity of oxygen is 2. But I studied the law class, what is atomicity? It is the number of atoms present in the molecule of that element. So oxygen exists as diatomic molecule. So this way. So remember, when it is cuprous, whose valency is copper shows the valency 1 and 2, mercury shows the valency 1 and 2, and Fe shows the valency 2 and 3. So these certain things in usual. Now let us revise out the chapter. First one is reaction of combination. We have studied it, it is what is mentioned it is when the reactions in which 2 or more substances combine to form a single substance, or in other words, we have studied it. Every substance that takes part in a chemical reactions are called reactants. Reactants are those which take part in the reaction, and products are those which are obtained after the reaction. So instead of substance, we can say that when 2 or more reactants combine to form a single product. And what are reactants? Those chemicals which take part in the reaction, and products are those which are obtained after the reaction. So when 2 or more reactants combine, now the reactants which can be elements, it can be compounds, anything. Understood? 2 elements combine, we get a compound. Sodium combines with chlorine to form sodium chloride. There are 2 elements. Then sodium oxide combines with water to produce sodium hydroxide. 2 compounds are combined. Understood it clearly? So calcium oxide combines with carbon dioxide to form calcium carbonate. So many reactions are there. So when 2 elements combine, compounds combine, element and compound combine, we get a single product, and that can be called as reaction of combination. Magnesium burns in oxygen to produce magnesium oxide. Hydrogen burns in oxygen to produce H2O. Understood it clearly? So this is what is a reaction of combination. When number of reactants combine, we get a single product. We have studied in that chapter ammonia plus H2O plus carbon dioxide. Ammonia combines with, that means concentrated ammonia combines with water and carbon dioxide to produce NH4CO3, ammonium bicarbonate. This reaction of how many compounds are there? 3 are there. NS3, H2O, carbon dioxide. So you can't say that only 2 elements, 2 compounds. Any number of reactants combine, and the basic thing is we get only one product, and then the reaction is reaction of combination. Understood clearly? So two elements combine to form a compound, that is also the reaction of combination. What is given in NCERT book? The reaction of quicklime with water. Quicklime is calcium oxide. So calcium oxide combines with water to produce calcium hydroxide. Calcium oxide combines with water to produce calcium hydroxide. Tremendous amount of heat is released, and that is what is the reaction of combination. All right. So the next one is combination of an element and a compound to form a new compound. Element and compound. Nitrogen dioxide combine, nitric oxide combine with oxygen to produce nitrogen dioxide. SO2 plus O2 becomes SO3. So sulfur dioxide is a compound, oxygen is an element, we get sulfur dioxide. And combination of two or more compounds, NS3 plus HCl will produce NH4Cl, ammonium chloride. Calcium oxide plus sulfur trioxide to produce calcium sulfate. Calcium oxide plus water to produce calcium hydroxide. You can give any example, and where I have given the three. NS3 plus H2O plus carbon dioxide, we are getting NH4HCO3, that is what is reaction combination. Understood it? And what is most important in this one is whenever the reaction of combination has taken place, what takes place is number of reactants are more, product is only one. And reaction of combination will be always accompanied with the release of energy. Simplest example, when coal is burned, we get tremendous amount of heat. Carbon dioxide is released. Hydrogen burns in air to produce water, bluish flame, tremendous amount of heat is released. Calcium oxide, that is quicklime, to which when water is added, lot of heat is released. So combination, heat is released. Number of reactants combined, we get a single product. All right, that is all about combination. So examples I told you. You know that in case this is the test of this one ammonia gas. Understood? You prepare ammonia and we bring HCl to this ammonia gas, then we will be getting white fumes of NH4Cl. NH3 is prepared, ammonium chloride is prepared to react with calcium hydroxide, we get NH3. And to test whether the gas is NH3 or not, you bring a glass rod dipped in concentrated HCl and bring it near to the gas, and you will be getting white dense fumes of ammonium chloride. This is so many examples are there. You know that is during the whitewashing process, what is taking place? We take quicklime to which water is added. So this is a recent type question. Quicklime is taken to which water is added. So CaO plus H2O, it becomes calcium hydroxide. And we put calcium hydroxide onto the wall. So after 2-3 days, the atmospheric carbon dioxide reacts with the calcium hydroxide to produce calcium carbonate, and that is what is a white coating we get it. Understood it clearly? This is all about combination. The next one is reaction of decomposition. What is a decomposition reaction? What we have studied? Decomposition just opposite of combination. Combination, we said number of reactants combined, we get a single product. And decomposition, a single reactant split or decompose to produce two or more products. A single reactant breaks, split into two or more products by absorbing energy can be called reaction of decomposition. Understood it clearly? For example, the most common form of energy that is available is heat, light, or electricity. Then you can say that mechanical energy is here. When a thing is hammered, it gets converted into powder or malleable or ductile, it takes place, but there is no chemical reaction taking place. So leaving out that the energy that are available to us is heat, light, or electricity. So decomposition reaction will take place by absorbing energy in the form of heat, light, or electricity. And if heat is absorbed, that is thermal decomposition. Right? Any reaction, any splitting of the compound into its constituents by absorbing heat is known as thermal decomposition. And decomposition by absorbing light is photochemical decomposition. And decomposition by electricity is electrolysis or electrolytic decomposition. Understood? So thermal decomposition is also known as thermolysis. Thermolysis means splitting of the compound into its constituents by absorbing energy in the form of heat. Simplest example is how we prepare quicklime. Quicklime is prepared by heating calcium carbonate strongly. When calcium carbonate is strongly heated, it gets decomposed into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. When calcium carbonate is heated strongly, it decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Sodium carbonate decomposes to produce sodium oxide and carbon dioxide. So any carbonate on strong heating, metal carbonate on strong heating decomposes and forms metallic oxide and carbon dioxide, and that is what is thermal decomposition. Correct? Any metal carbonate, calcium carbonate, that is how quicklime is prepared. That stone pieces are taken that are heated strongly, decomposed into calcium oxide and carbon. This is how tuna or quicklime is prepared. Understood? So that is thermal decomposition or thermolysis. Understood? The next one is photochemical decomposition or photolysis. And that is what is generally taking place. All silver compounds are photochemicals. Silver compounds. If you take little bit of silver chloride and place it on a petri dish, after some day you can see where it is placed, it turns to black. The black and white photography depends on this photolysis. Decomposition by observing light. You understand it? This one, what I mean to say that photosynthesis is not photolysis, photochemical. It's a photochemical reaction, but it is not photochemical decomposition. Understood it clearly? So silver bromide, silver chloride, etc. gets decomposed to form silver and chlorine or silver and bromine, and that takes place by absorbing energy in the form of heat, and that is what is known as photochemical decomposition or photolysis. Understood it? Now this is one statement. A compound X is stored in a dark colored bottle. A substance or a chemical is stored in a dark colored bottle, give a reason. Simple, we can say that chemical will undergo photochemical reactions. You know that photographic film is packed in dark colored containers. The reason is if light is falling onto them, it will be decomposed. Understood clearly? Thermal decomposition, there are many examples given in this one. One is what is given, lead nitrate is heated strongly. Now that is an important reaction. When lead nitrate is heated, it gets decomposed into lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen gas is released. This is how, you know, when any nitrate is heated, oxygen gas gets released. That is the reason, you know, that nitrates are being used as explosives. All these atomic bomb formation, etc. They have, these bombs and etc. Even the gunpowder contains potassium nitrate as one of the main constituents. The reason is when any nitrate is heated, it releases tremendous amount of oxygen. And this oxygen will accelerate the rate of combustion and that will cause destruction. Have you understood it? So when lead nitrate is heated, we get lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. The characteristic property of nitrogen dioxide is it is brownish in color. Characteristic property is it is brownish in color. It is observed pungent smelling brown fumes come out of this test tube. This indicates nitrogen dioxide is a bit. Forget about the smell, but the color you can identify. Single reactant breaks to produce two or more products. The next one is what is given, the heating of green vitriol. Green vitriol is ferrosulfate.7H2O, FeSO4.7H2O. What would be your observation when this green vitriol is heated? First thing, ferrosulfate on heating, its water of crystallization is lost. FeSO4.7H2O. These are the compounds which have got water of crystallization. We have studied what is water of crystallization. It is the number of water molecules associated with one formula unit of the matter, which gives that material crystalline shape. Understood? Number of water molecules associated with one formula unit of the matter, which gives that crystalline nature. That is very known as water of crystallization. So FeSO4.7H2O is green vitriol, right? And when this compound is heated, the water of crystallization is lost. So FeSO4 plus 7H2O is formed. And when ferrosulfate is strongly heated, it is decomposed to produce Fe2O3, SO2, and SO3. These observations are important. Now, FeSO4.7H2O, we have studied it. The compound has got color due to the presence of iron. Since it has got 7H2O, water due to the presence of water, ferrous sulfate is greenish in color, right? You heat that, the water of crystallization is lost and the green color is lost. Understood? And when that is further heated strongly, that FeSO4 is decomposed and it forms Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3. And what is Fe2O3? Rust. So what will be the color of rust? Reddish brown. So what happens when green vitriol is heated? First thing, water of crystallization is lost and it becomes grayish white. And on further heating strongly, it gets converted into reddish brown and releasing suffocating sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide, SO2 and SO3. And these things, it is mentioned, they have got burning sulfur smell. They have got a characteristic. So this is about the thermal decomposition. Understood it? When green vitriol is heated, first thing what takes place is the 7H2O is lost, the color is lost. And then on further heating, it gets converted into reddish brown due to the formation of Fe2O3 plus SO2 and SO3. SO2 and SO3 are what? Burning sulfur smell or a suffocating gas. Alright. Then decomposition by electricity. What is given in CRT book is electrolysis of water will produce hydrogen and oxygen. H2O becomes half H2 plus O2 or 2H2O will be giving 2H2 plus O2. That means when 2H2O molecules are decomposed, it gets converted into 2H2 plus O2. Understood it? Now, there are certain precautions that are to be taken into this one. Pure water is a bad conductor of electricity. So we must make water good conductor of electricity, for which into the water we add little bit of acid, alkali, or anything soluble matter by which we must make the water impure. Now, if you add any solid, say for example, sodium chloride, little pinch is added and that get dissolved and that will produce, that will make the water good electrolyte. How? Because when sodium chloride is added, it gets ionized in Na plus and Cl-. So few ions present in that water will make the water to conduct electricity. Understood it? So little bit of HCl, NaOH, NaCl, anything can be added into the water to make the water as a good electrolyte. And on passing electricity, you know that when H2O is decomposed, we get H plus and O2 minus. The S plus positive ions will go towards the cathode. So on the cathode, hydrogen gas is collected and anions, only the non-metals are collected. Understood it clearly? So hydrogen is electropositive, oxygen is electronegative. So the electronegative one will go to the anode and electropositive one will go to the cathode. So when water is electrolyzed, we get hydrogen collected at cathode and oxygen collected at anode. Understood it clearly? So one H2O contains half molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen. So when it is electrolyzed, what has happened? The volume of hydrogen collected will be half molecules of oxygen and one molecule of 2H2O will be giving 2H2 plus O2. That means the volume of a gas depends upon the number of molecules. There is a law, Gay-Lussac's law, which says the volume of gas depends upon the number of moles. Number of moles is number of molecules, right? So the volume of hydrogen collected will be twice that of volume of oxygen collected. So these are the questions which are asked. What happens when H2O is electrolyzed? So you say that we'll be getting hydrogen and oxygen. And why we make the water impure? What is the necessity of adding acid? So all these you understood it. We make the water impure or we add little 2-3 drops of HCl or NaOH or NaCl is added to make the water good electrolyte. Good electrolyte means that will allow the current to be flown. And when current flows, water decomposes into hydrogen and oxygen. Where is hydrogen collected? At cathode and oxygen collected at anode. Remember I had said the statement that all metals are electropositive. Hydrogen is also electropositive. So every electropositive metal will be collected at cathode. Cathode is a negative electrode. Towards a negative electrode, positive things will go. We know that, right? So when electrolysis of water is done, hydrogen gets collected at cathode and oxygen will be collected at anode. Now for every molecules of H2O when electrolyzed, one molecule of hydrogen to which we get half molecules of oxygen. Therefore, the volume of hydrogen collected will be twice that of volume of oxygen. Understood it clearly? So many things I told you. First thing, why should we make the water impure? Why we add little bit of acid into this? That is to make the water good conductor of electricity. Second one, where is hydrogen collected? Hydrogen is collected at cathode and oxygen is collected at anode. And the third one, what is the volume of gases collected? Hydrogen's volume will be twice that of oxygen. What is the ratio of oxygen to hydrogen? 1:2. Ratio of hydrogen to oxygen is 2:1. And the next one is how would we test the gases that are released? To a burning mass stick, mass splinter is brought near the gas jar containing hydrogen. It burns with a pop sound. That is a sound that is. Don't think that pop is something else. Understood it clearly? We bring a lighted mass stick near to the jar which contains hydrogen. Now the jar is just open the lid little bit and put the lighted mass stick in inside, and the hydrogen present in it will burn with pop sound because hydrogen is highly combustible. So that is the one. Understood it? The hydrogen burns with a bluish flame, non-smoky flame. It is a bluish color. But that is not important. What is important is the sound. It burns with a pop sound. Right? And then what has happened? What is the test of oxygen? Oxygen supports combustion. So to the jar containing oxygen, you bring a lighted matchstick, and if it burns more brightly, you know that for the combustion oxygen is needed. So if it burns more brightly, then what can we say that? It contains oxygen. Clear? So many activities you understood it clearly. Same activity, number of questions which can be asked. Pure water is a bad conductor of electricity. To make the water good conductor of electricity, we must make the water impure. Oxygen is collected at anode, hydrogen is collected at cathode. The volume is hydrogen to oxygen is 2:1. Hydrogen, you don't say that it burns with pop sound. You'll have to say the full experiment. We bring a lighted matchstick into the jar containing hydrogen, and if the gas burns with pop sound, why pop sound is produced? Because the rate of combustion of hydrogen is very high. So all the hydrogen present in that gas burns at the same time, and that makes a sound produced. Understood it? It burns with a pop sound, that is hydrogen, and oxygen supports combustion. So any burning splinter is put into the jar containing oxygen, it burns more. This is about the reaction of electrolysis. Understood it? Now, another statement is all highly reactive metals like sodium, potassium, aluminum, these are extracted by the electrolysis of their molten compound. Understood it? How aluminum is extracted? Al2O3, alumina, molten alumina through which electricity is passed, we get aluminum anodes. How we extract sodium? Molten sodium chloride, you pass electricity, we get sodium and chlorine. So all metals up to aluminum is extracted by the electrolysis or electrolytic reduction of their molten compound. Remember that. Electrolysis. Aluminum is extracted by passing electricity through molten aluminum oxide. Sodium is extracted by passing it through sodium chloride, molten sodium chloride. And this is how electrolysis. Splitting of a compound into its constituents by passing electricity. And that is what is electrolysis. Have you understood it? The next one is photolysis. I told you, decomposition by absorbing light. Silver bromide behaves in the same way to get decomposed.